All right, take a quick look to see if everything is updating. Okay, showing us live. It's always a good thing. I think it's showing us live. Check out the watch page. Okay. So it is showing me live. I need to mute that on my end, though. Darth Rushy, funny that the War Doctor is next. It's just the audio I was listening to last night. Yeah, and there's definitely a big reason for that. I mean, I'll make the official announcement, at the end of this video, but with the passing of John Hurt, it just felt like the right thing to do, honestly. So, yeah. I'm sorry, Darth Rushy, that this is so rather late in your day, but it seemed like well, originally this was going to be at 10 o'clock my time, but I while I was working on some stuff, because I'm on call this weekend, while I was working on some stuff with work, afterward I fell asleep in my chair. So I decided to delay it a little bit to make sure that I was fully awake. But it looks like currently there are 4 people watching right now, so welcome everyone. I'm glad you could make it to this little stream. It's 4 a.m. over where you are. Wow. I hope you didn't wake up just for this. I hope you were already awake, Matt, but all the same, with it being 4 a.m. where you live, good morning, and I hope you are doing well. So yes, as mentioned in the stream there, actually let me go ahead and I guess it's fine to leave the video showing here for me right now. Charlie Archer, it's 5 p.m. there. Okay, yeah, that's a time frame that I kind of suspected in a lot of cases, or I kind of assumed most people that were watching would see here. Oh, good Lord. Come on, you stupid. There we go. There we go. My screen is not wanting to cooperate, but it's also very distracting to see myself talking over there on the right. So I will just stop that from moving. Yes. And just in case you all are wondering why I have this orange and blue blanket around me, it is quite chilly here right now. Here in Minnesota, and we have the heat on in the house. It's just, for some reason, it's quite cold. Maybe I just haven't woken up yet, or maybe I need to get myself another nice hot coffee. But all the same, again, thank you all so much, very much for being here for this edition of the book club, which was supposed to have happened last October, but got delayed and delayed for various reasons. But I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do it today so that we can get moving and start moving on to some of the other audios. Now, before I get started on the discussion of the Nemonite invasion, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up next. And if you look in the description of the stream, or, well, the video if you're watching this afterward, is after the Nemonite invasion, which is what we're doing today, and is an audiobook available on CD, I believe, and then also on audible.com, which is where I listen to it. The next coming edition of the book club will be on an audio available through Big Finish Audio. And originally, I was going to start out with some of the Eighth Doctor's adventures, since I had watched the movie and figured, I don't know much about the Eighth Doctor other than that, and then the short prequel scene we get of him turning into the War Doctor. But unfortunately, as many of you may know, or, well, all of you may know, possibly, if you're fans of Doctor Who and his other stuff, the wonderful John Hurt has unfortunately passed away. And I thought that it would be a nice way to honor him as his, being part of the Doctor Who universe, and basically doing his audios, or starting out with Big Finish by listening to his audios. And so that's what's going to be the next book club edition. Basically, it's going to be starting volume 1, aka, what is the full title? The War Doctor Volume 1, Only the Monstrous. So yes, again, it is a horrible loss that we have lost another wonderful actor, another legend of the world. And it seems like more and more of these, you know, legends, actors are passing away all the time. But I figure that's a good way to, you know, to remember the Doctor, or I'm sorry, remember John Hurt, by having the next book club be in his honor, basically. Let's take a quick look at the chat here real quick. Hey, Tom Monty, welcome to the stream. Gutted about Mr. Ollivander. I know. It's really, really sad. And decided to check out the audios from Mr. Hurt as well. Yeah, same here. But because, like I said, was going to do the 8th Doctor, which I will be getting around to with his audios, but it seemed just like the right time to start doing Mr. Hurt's audios as the War Doctor. So yeah, that'll be next time. And let me see here. That will be taking place, or the book club for that will be taking place on February the 26th, also a Sunday. And I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I tried looking over the Big Finish website, and so far I still haven't found a good way to gift those kinds of things. So I won't be able to do a free giveaway for the War Doctor stories, but hopefully, since Big Finish is as popular as it is anyway, it's something that more people will be able to participate because they might already own those audios. Quick message from Matt Son. I don't know if you've answered this yet or not, but who is your favorite Doctor? That's I've kind of answered that in the past, but I'll get to it a little bit later in the stream. Darth Roshi, I've never heard of the Nemonite invasion. Which Doctor is that? The Nemonite invasion is another audiobook that focuses around the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble, which is a big reason why I started doing this particular series, because the first audio was read by David Tennant, and then this one and the previous one were read by I was going to say Donna Noble, but by Catherine Tate. So yes, this is going to be the last 10th Doctor one for a while, until I guess I get around to those newer ones that came out recently with Big Finish. Let's see, the Moreland. Only the Monstrous isn't the best choice for starting with Big Finish, but cool. Nemonite invasion is oh yeah, okay, so you answer that. I disagree. The Moreland. Only the Monstrous is fantastic. It actually got me into Big Finish now. And then Tom Monty, what's next in terms of Snackin' UK edition? I'm glad you like the wagon wheels. Well, the next one in terms of Snackin', the UK edition, I actually have it uploaded. So let me take a quick look over in my video manager to make sure I've got the next one right. I skipped over it. Okay, here we go. So the next one that will be going up, which will actually be next weekend, will be Jaffa Cakes, or Jaffa Cakes, or however they're pronounced, because I go back and forth in the video itself. Because today, what I'm going to be setting live after this stream is essentially like the belated Christmas 2016 Snackin' edition, which is one I recorded with my nephew and niece. And it was fun to record, and it was fun to film. I found them enjoyable. I've noticed that apparently someone that watches the channel doesn't particularly like the videos with my nephew in them, because I think each of those has 2 thumbs down so far. But yeah, as it is, that's going to be the snack in for today. But then starting next weekend, we'll be getting right back into the UK editions, and they'll be starting with the Jaffa Cakes, or the Jaffa Cakes, or the however they're pronounced. Okay, so look over the chat one last time real quick before getting into the thoughts on the Nemonite invasion. Let's see. I found Hurt much more compelling in his own story without Eccleston and McGann looming over him. Oh yeah, well that's true because yeah, in the show he doesn't really. I mean, obviously Eccleston comes after him, even though it's not shown in the big special. But yeah, Paul McGann does come right before in the little prequel. Jaffa Cakes are amazing. Well, I won't say what I think because that would ruin the surprise, won't it? You could probably assume, though. Is anyone going to see T2 Train Spotting? They are pronounced Jaffa Cakes, not Jarfa Cakes. Okay, oh, you mean like not Jaffa Cakes, but it is Jaffa Cakes then? I hope I got that right. All right, how many more UK editions will there be? Oh, there are a lot of snacks, believe me. And I've actually recorded quite a few. It's a matter of just getting them edited down, which thankfully doesn't take too long because for the most part, they're basically one-take videos. But, it still just take a little bit of time. But there's quite a few more coming up, and I might end up combining some of them. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm definitely doing my best to hit all of the bigger ones first, or what I think would be the bigger ones. Hi, I don't want spoilers. I just stopped by to say, "Aw, thank you for joining in, Jess." I definitely let me say this before I get into the story of the Nemonite invasion and discussing that, so Jess can avoid spoilers. But I definitely recommend you check it out. I would say that all three of the David Tennant and, or I'm sorry, 10th Doctor and Donna Noble audios that are available on audible.com, I definitely recommend them. Of course, I'm going to get into more details as I go along, but if you have audible.com and you feel like checking those out, I feel like they're definitely worth the credit, even though they're only like a little over 2 hours long, each one. This is unrelated, but have you ever thought about doing gaming vids? Well, Matt, if you go to my channel, I actually have been doing some. I would like to do more. It's a matter of finding the time, though, and I'm wanting to dedicate my time to my discovering series for the most part. But there are going to be some video game related videos that are going to come out over time, and hopefully I'm going to be able to dedicate more time to my Late to the Video Game review series, which personally I think is some of my best quality stuff so far on the channel. Seska, really underwhelmed. Oh. Well, not everyone's going to react to certain episodes the same way, I suppose, so it's understandable. You do Doctor Who gaming vids, comedy value, because most of them are really bad. Oh, I was really underwhelmed with the episode, no offense. But yeah, I actually do have one of the Doctor Who games available in my Steam library, and I'm going to be buying another one soon. I was hoping to get it when it went on sale, but it seems like the particular game that's on my wish list doesn't go on sale for whatever reason. So I'll probably buy that maybe next month or the month after, once I get some fresh income in from the Patreon. And I'll dedicate some of that money to getting that Doctor Who game. But yeah, there's quite a few games that I'm going to be doing coming soon, including one that definitely has a lot to do with time travel. So that should be fun. But let's see. Expecting a few tears, and you'd love to see more gaming vids. Tom, I would have to say so. It's like I don't think I cried in The Girl in the Fireplace. I may have. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. But it's definitely an emotional one for me. But overall, I feel like it wasn't one of the most emotional, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. Like I said, it's been too long ago. But yeah, I'm hoping to do more gaming vids in the near future. So thank you for that question, and thank Matt, and thank you for that little bit of enthusiasm, Jess. They were credit on a Doctor Who episode, Heart of Steel. Oh, does my channel have a schedule for streams? No, not yet. Well, I take that back. As far as these book club streams go, I do have a schedule for that. The next one is going to be on February 26th, and then I will be plotting out more as time goes on. If you want to see a sort of a prequel schedule at the time being, you can go to the PapaKennMedia Facebook page, and there is an image available that has my January through February schedule minus any extra videos I might throw in. And if you aren't able to read it very well, you can go to the link that's provided in that picture's description, and you can zoom in and take a look. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no streaming schedule right now. As it is, I'm just doing my best to make sure I keep up with my schedule for the channel as far as videos go. But hopefully with time, and as my backlog continues to grow, which thankfully it actually is growing now, I will be able to dedicate more time to streaming, possibly over on my Twitch channel as well, which thankfully I can actually do that through my PlayStation 4. So if I'm able to do that more often, I might actually start to create a schedule for that. We'll have to wait and see. Quick glance over here again. Streams are very rare. Yeah, they are, unfortunately. Recorded Torchwood reactions in advance. Yes, I have. The one that caused a flame war, but I'm curious to know whether you prefer RTD or Moffat as showrunner. Series 3 reactions. Oh, yes, that's Children of Earth, I think it is. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to checking that out, too. Getting a phone call from a number I don't recognize, so I won't be answering that. Ruby, hey, looking very sweet, my little quilt. Yes, thank you. It's a little bit chilly here today, so yeah. Can I say how far I am into Torchwood? Series 1 is complete, but as for my thoughts on the episodes, can't answer that until the episodes come out. Sorry. You think the Steven Universe reactions will return? Actually, if you go look at the schedule that I mentioned on the PapaKennMedia Facebook page, that'll give you an idea of the episodes coming up. So yeah, there's that. But okay, so all that aside, I want to go ahead and get into the Nemonite invasion, get some thoughts started on it, and just real quick, has anyone been able to listen to the Nemonite invasion? Or, well, I mean, it's an audio, so I guess you really only can listen to it. But has anyone had a chance to listen to it? I mean, again, I know this was originally supposed to be back in October, but I really am curious to know. I know that more people will have listened to the Big Finish stuff once we get into that next time. So while I'm waiting for your responses to, has anyone listened to it, I will check out Ruby's question here. Missing Charlie and the Cats. They will be doing some cameos in the future. The hard part has been that whenever it comes time to record certain things that I would be okay with them being in here for, I've had a very messy office. It's still messy, but it's almost clean. And especially with the cats, I have to be really careful about not having any food out, because they will eat it, or they will try to eat it. And so, yeah, I just gotta be really careful about that, unfortunately. But yeah, they will be making some cameos most likely in the near future, just not on this stream, because I have the office door closed, and until I get the office completely cleaned back up again, which I think is probably something I say in every single one of my streams, but it is something I'm working on currently. they will be returning much more, at least the cats, because Charlie, whenever he's in here, usually he's over in his corner of the office laying down on the blankets. So, but yeah, they'll definitely be making some more cameos in the near future. Haven't, but I'm sure it will be entertaining to watch my opinions regardless. Okay. Well, yeah, I kind of assumed, because it's been pretty frequent so far, that no one has really listened to this stuff on audible.com. Oh, again, which is understandable because it's not the most popular way, and it's not the most popular audiobooks or audios related to Doctor Who. Those are definitely more on the Big Finish side. So hopefully you'll be able to get more people's opinions in on the Big Finish stuff going in. One last thing from Torchwood Boy. Are you excited for Series 10 of Doctor Who? I am. I honestly am. I'm interested to see what kind of character Bill is going to be like. I feel like what we get from her in the in that trailer at the end of the Christmas special is mostly just stuff edited together. It sounds like they're kind of going for a catchphrase kind of character or a one-liner kind of character, and she may very well be. That may be the way they try to write her. But I feel like that was just edited together in a way that could relate to certain viewers and maybe not so much others. But as a whole, I am definitely looking forward to it. I am looking forward to learning more about Bill. And yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Peter Capaldi will stick around for at least another series after this one, since Moffat will be leaving at the end. Or basically, this series is the last one that Moffat will be head writing. Haven't watched Torchwood yet. Do you think it's worth watching? A lot of people definitely recommend the they recommend the third in the series, but I want to take it in order. I would recommend it if you're interested. It's definitely a lot more adult oriented, in the sense that they, especially in the early part of the first series, try to emphasize we're the adult version of Doctor Who because we have sex and blood and blah blah blah. It's interesting. I would not recommend it as heartily as like I would Doctor Who, obviously, but it's an interesting thing to check out. And I don't know. I have issues with it for sure, but the good moments of the show are really, really good. Chaotix Fusion, hello, sir. Okay, so before I get lost in the chat again, it is time to get into the Nemonite invasion. And again, obviously, since not really anyone else has listened to it, I completely understand. But let's get into the Nemonite invasion anyway. I'll just give my opinions on it. Yeah, and we'll just see how it goes from there. This will probably be fairly brief, and then I'll get back to your all's questions and this and that. But if you have any questions, please do keep in mind that I'm most likely not going to be looking at the chat for the most part right now, just while I'm doing the review of the Nemonite invasion. So let's get right into it. First of all, the Nemonite invasion, well, if you didn't hear me mention it already, was narrated by Catherine Tate, and I really like her delivery in the two audios I've listened to so far. She does a really good job. Even the, like overall, I just absolutely love her vocal performance. The only thing I do wish, admittedly, is that they had David Tennant there to do his lines for whenever he's speaking in the episode, because while I keep wanting to say Donna, while Catherine does a really good job with him, there's just something I miss about him reading his lines so frantically and fast, especially when the Doctor gets really energized. And it's like, in the first audio with him, I could just picture him being, again, the 10th Doctor when he's getting very hyped up in all of his expressions. And it's just more of a mental thing for me. So that's one huge reason why I'm actually looking forward to getting into the Big Finish audios with David Tennant and Catherine Tate, because that should just be so much fun to have both of them acting, or both of them doing the voice acting throughout the story. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And one big thing about the Forever Trap that I enjoyed is that it's another example of the writer perfectly capturing the Donna Doctor relationship elements. Now, the first audio I did with them, the one that David Tennant narrated, I feel like that was probably the strongest story overall of the three. But at the same time, we didn't get a lot of time with Donna and the Doctor together in that story. Basically, I would say 3/4 of the story, they're not together. And this one has some of that, I suppose, that they don't spend as much time together as they do in the previous one, the Forever Trap. But again, it's just like when they are together in this episode, their relationship just is written so well, and it really reflects the way that they're presented in the show, at least in my opinion. So I just really enjoyed that element of this book. And well, as I already mentioned, Catherine Tate's reading and narration of the story is really good. Do miss David Tennant's voice for the Doctor, but hey, I'll be getting around to that once I hit big finish. Now, one of the things that I honestly really did like about this book, and it's kind of a sensitive subject. Well, it's a sensitive subject in general, worldwide, but especially given some of the things that are going on and being discussed in the U.S. right now. But it's when after they've crashed into after they've crashed into the water, and the Royal Navy is coming to pick them up, the Doctor teases Donna about he basically says, "I hope you have a high tolerance for pain," implying that there might be tortured. And he basically teases her about it because I assume that wasn't something that they did at that point in the UK. It's, something that has happened in the US off and on, but, just sort of teasing her about that. And in the end, it's just taken as a joke. Donna is just like, "You're such a jerk." And the Doctor laughs about it. Well, they both laugh about it, really. But especially given what's been going on lately here in the US and some of the interesting discussions coming up about things our new president have said, I found that to be a really funny situation, and yet also incredibly, incredibly dark. Just, again, for personal reasons. I'll take a quick glance over here at the chat real quick. Series 4, Miracle Day. Okay, that's what you all were talking about. My next favorite part of this episode, honestly, was Bertram Ramsay, which is not a name I was familiar with until really listening to this audio. I hope I've heard about him before in my history classes, but if not, after I heard about him in this audio, I went to look him up, and I'll bring up the Wikipedia page here real quick. I mean, the man seemed like an absolutely amazing person, especially as far as being an admiral, or what he did during the Second World War. It just seemed like an absolutely amazing person. Well, and the First World War. I forgot he participated in that as well. So yeah, just learning about him, just gazing over the Wikipedia. I can't talk. The Wikipedia page real quick. Just seems like an absolutely amazing man, and that's just awesome to me. And also, after listening or looking at the Wikipedia page, I actually had a face to put with this character who, I mean, in my mind, the first time I listened to the audio, it's just a general figure I have in my face. It's like, okay, well, he's like a war-hardened admiral or corporal or whatever he was called in this story. And, you know, it's just kind of a general thing you make up in your head, but actually having his face to put to it, the second time I listened through it, it honestly made the story a little bit more enjoyable in a way. That might seem kind of silly, but I do enjoy that whenever they have the actual historical figures in stories like this, that I have an actual person's face to put with a character. Because, I mean, you know, it kind of limits the imagination as far as that goes, but with this being an actual person that existed and lived in the past, it's nice to have that, again, that face to put with the character in this story. Moving on from there, now, I'm actually confused. I'm not sure what I want to mention first here, because there's several points that kind of coincide with each other. But just starting with the German sub, as short-lived as that scene actually was, and even the scenes afterward, I found it so interesting. Without this new horrible alien even being described, the way that it just so quickly overtook everyone on the U-boat. Excuse me. It was just one of it was just one of those scenes straight out of a horror movie, basically. Especially when they were describing it, when when the Doctor and Donna went onto the U-boat and found the one kind of sort of survivor. It was just, I don't know. There were a lot of amazingly done horror elements in this story, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things about Doctor Who at times, is that when you get someone who can write horror really well, it comes off so effectively in this show. It really, really does. Well, in the show and in these audios as well. Again, it just depends on who's writing it, and in this case, who's reading it. And Catherine Tate does a really effective job in emoting when she reads those certain lines and the descriptions. Now, moving on from there, though, when the Doctor and Donna are taken to the leaders, Dr. Bertram Ramsay, and what was the other guy's name? I wrote it down. Jarman? I kept thinking they were calling him like German, basically, as his name, but the character's name was Jarman. Sort of a more loose cannon, if you will, as far as this story goes. But they ask who the Doctor and Donna are, and the story they came up with is that they're part of a top secret branch of not MI6, but basically a top secret research group, basically. And the name that they came up with for their group, well, actually, Donna came up with a name, The X-Files, which, you know, back then could work because the show didn't exist until the 90s. But when Donna says that, refers to them as the X-Files, even the Doctor is just like, really? So I really love the way that was sort of brought into it. And the X-Files is mentioned a few more times, but for the most part, it was sort of a one-off joke at that point that really worked for me as a fan of the show. That honestly, I can barely remember much of the show. I might need to rediscover the X-Files at some point in the future. But moving on from that, my next, and this is probably one of the biggest favorites of the entire audiobook, honestly, and it's the Nemonites themselves. And everything about it is described as, it's a very vampiric race. Although vampiric and leech-like, because it's seemingly its whole point is to breed. And once it is able to drain humans or drain a host of all of its fluids, again, like a vampire, it's able to breed and in the process create thousands upon thousands of children And it's, again, it is just like being out of a horror movie that this alien comes from. And I don't know, it's hard to describe without you actually having heard the audiobook. But I was going to say that maybe the closest equivalent would be not it, but The Thing. But that's at the same time not a very good example of it as well. It's almost like a combination of The Thing, vampires, and body snatchers. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good way to go about it. So yeah, just something about this alien and what it does is, it's, I don't know, the imagination just runs wild with it, because at times you think it's almost octopus-like, but then at other times it's as simple as being a leech that is hooked to a human host. So yeah, I don't know, there's so much about it that I wish there was more of a, I wish this had been an actual episode or two-part episode, because I would love to see how they would present the Nemonite, or the Nemonites rather, within the show itself. Might come off not so good, kind of like how some of the other aliens did in the early years of the show. Well, early years as in the reboot version of the show, or whatever you want to call it, relaunch. Or it could look really cool and evil and grotesque, which is how I like to imagine it. And one other thing about the creature that I really enjoyed is how it kept repeating, "There's nothing to fear." Like, there's nothing to fear. It's this normally very reassuring statement, but because this thing keeps saying it to everyone that it comes upon, and it is potentially going to make a host out of you, it's just takes on this very dark, creepy, and just horrifying note. I mean, again, the way that Catherine Tate reads it definitely helps as well. But just this, "There's nothing to fear," while it's basically coming upon its next victim and filling it full of leeches and Nemonites and making it one of the hive brain. Well, I don't think they were technically a hive brain, but one of its children, shall we say. Oh, love The Thing. Oh, I love The Thing too. I think I need to rewatch the latest one that they came out with, because I didn't like it at first, but I don't know, maybe upon a rewatch I might like it more. But the classic version is like, it's a classic. The original The Thing was just a phenomenal movie in and of itself, and I definitely need to give it. I definitely need to give it a rewatch. Might give the remake or whatever it is watch too, just to see if maybe I was being too harsh on it before. Let's see. Well, my next favorite part of about this audiobook was it basically took up a large portion of the second chapter, or the second half of the story, and that was the operation against the Nemonites, where the doctor, Bertram, Catherine, Donna, and everyone else that is still alive basically enacts this plan to fight back against the Nemonites, which involves firing off all of their sirens, because the Nemonites can see in the dark through echolocation, but it also hurts them to have too much sound going on, because their ears are so sensitive. So I like that aspect of it. And then also they are very very weak to and very sensitive to light, or ultraviolet light, I suppose. So there's a plan that is enacted by the doctor surrounding that too, and just the entire process of it all, and the way that, you know, they don't really go into like detailed military communication through the story. It's definitely more for the layman, but you can tell that without actually going into those terms, that the person that wrote this had a good idea of the way the military worked and the way the military would operate, and they would communicate back and forth with each other. That might not make a lot of sense, but it does in my head, and I also need more coffee. So yeah, just like everything about the operation against the Nemonites, fighting back and getting rid of the Nemonites in the end, I really enjoyed that. That was just a really well done, well written, and well performed aspect of the story. And then finally, my last favorite part about this audiobook was a character called Michael Fasbrook, which I don't. The hard part about writing down the names is that I'm kind of guessing, but it sounded a lot like Michael Fassbender. So I wrote down Michael Fasbrook's name as essentially Michael Fassbender, but after the B, it's just R-O-O-K. But the character himself was really enjoyable. He was he's one of those characters that you kind of assume he's going to be someone that doesn't survive. You assume that he's going to be a one-off character. He's going to be fodder for the episode, or in this case, the audiobook. But at the same time, he was a strong presence. He was a character that whenever he was involved in the scene taking place, he was a strong secondary character, I guess is the way you would put it. Because a lot of times in stories, secondary characters are just pushed aside, or they might as well not even exist. Or at the very least just be like background characters. But he definitely wasn't that. He's a character that, down to the very end of the story, has some very dramatic moments. Like, actually, at the very end of the second chapter, or rather the second half of this story, like, you very much feel for this character. You want him to survive, and the things that he does and the way things are described that are happening to him, like, you're rooting for him. You're rooting for him to survive and to be able to fight back against the Nemonites. And I won't reveal what happens to him exactly, because I recommend you check out this audiobook if you get a chance. But he's a character that I very much enjoyed in this story that I enjoyed. Now, real quick, I do have some annoyances with the audiobook, some of which I'm sure are intended, but at the same time, it's just things that bothered me on both listenings of this audiobook. The first of which is Jarman, basically the counterpart to Bertram Ramsey. And he seemed like an unnecessary villain to the story, because we have the Nemonites, and the Nemonites, like, anyone that they take over becomes a bad guy. So Jarman just sort of seemed like a troublemaker, or a secondary nuisance in the end. A dangerous nuisance, no doubt, but at the same time, just kind of a nuisance that faded into the background in the second half when the Nemonites truly became the real threat of the story. So yeah, I didn't care for him overall. I feel like the story would have been stronger without him. But at the same time, he served his purpose, however psychotic it may have been at times, especially in the second half. But yeah, it's just like, he's just an annoyance for me. Felt like the story would have been better without him. My second annoyance is that a line that comes from technically the Nemonites, but also technically the person they're possessing before the big outbreak occurs. And they say, "We are not who we say we are." And that's coming from, again, the person that the Nemonite has possessed. But it was never fully clear to me whether that was sort of the man saying that I'm not who I say I am, but for some reason referring to themselves as we, or if that's the creatures kind of saying that. I don't know. It was just a really strange line that's used a few more times, but its true meaning was never fully clear to me. And again, that may just be me being thick in the head, but yeah, it was just a bit of an annoyance for me. And then my last annoyance is one that is very. It just, the last line of the audiobook, basically, it seemed very sudden. It seemed like a good description for a script, in that it was an okay description for what might be what would be described as what would be happening on screen, like this person walks toward this place. But that's literally the last line of the audiobook. We don't get this, any extended, like, what kind of day it is, or just like sort of this closing, these closing lines, as like in our minds, it sort of fades to black. It's this person walks here and then boom, story's over. I don't know. It felt very sudden. And even that may not be the right description for it, but yeah, it felt weird to me. But all that being said, well, I've basically already given my overall opinion in a way, well, numerous times. But do I recommend the Nemonite invasion to fans of Doctor Who? Absolutely. I think this is a wonderful story, and especially if you have a subscription to Audible, or if you're able to find a copy of the CDs, or CD maybe, at your library, I highly recommend checking it out, because it is a great story. It has some flaws, in my opinion, but it's really, really good. So yeah, definite thumbs up for the Nemonite invasion. So all three of the audios involving the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble so far have been really good to varying degrees. But ending it with the Nemonite invasion, especially with this wonderful horror element to it, I really enjoyed. So yeah, do you all have any thoughts or any questions for me about the story that you'd like me to answer? If I can, take a quick glance over here at the chat while I'm waiting for your questions. Oh yeah, these streams. Okay, going back to a question from Matt. How long do these streams usually go for? And as Tom mentioned in the chat, the last two vary between 1 to 2 hours, and that sounds about right. I'd say that's probably where we'll end up, possibly. Let's see. Okay, Ruby says she loved the thing. Thought I'd duck in for 5 minutes to say hi while I wait for my family to stop fanning about before we go out. Hey there, James. Well, it looks like I did miss you while you were in, but thank you for joining in while you were here. Thing equals awesome. The Thing. Not a remake. It showed what happened to the Swedes before reaching the Americans. Oh, okay. Okay, maybe that's why I didn't like it as much then, because maybe I was just thinking it was a full remake. So I do need to rewatch the newer version of The Thing then. That way I can, I guess, maybe appreciate it more. Thank you for that clarification, Ruby. And bye, James. Again, sorry I wasn't able to get to your messages before you left. And I'm sorry for all the coughing, everyone. I actually had a glass of water to keep me from getting a dry throat, but I appear to have forgotten that upstairs. Lovely. But yeah, again, just if anyone has any questions or anything that they'd like to say, feel free to say so in the chat. Otherwise, yeah, we'll get to some closing remarks here as far as the Nemonite invasion goes. Hey, Alice Plays. Well, first of all, I don't know how long you've been in here, but welcome to the stream. You haven't read this one? Actually, I think that this is one of the stories that didn't have a novelization or a book companion. It was one that was only audio. Uh, but again, I definitely do recommend checking it out if you have a uh, a subscription to Audible, or if you can find the CDs somewhere, like at your library, which is like where I know a few people have actually found it before. Excuse me. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. Just been working on something while you've been listening. Oh, just joined. Okay. It's a prequel, so watch that, then the classic, referring to The Thing. Okay, thank you, Ruby. And question from Matt Son. Do you think you will watch The Walking Dead? Yes. I actually have already watched I watched the first and second seasons, and it had intended on doing a Discovering series for those sooner, but things got in the way. So I am going to get around to that soon. I just it's going to be tricky. I have to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that, and I may end up doing The Walking Dead in a one video per season kind of deal, or maybe like one video per 6 episodes. It's hard to say at this point, but I will be getting around to The Walking Dead eventually. I just, at this point, I don't know if I will be able to go all the way through the show, because I am a huge fan of the comics, and I know quite a few people that I really trust who are also big fans of the comics that, especially recently, do not care for the show. So we'll have to see how that goes in the end. Let's see. Prepare to be underwhelmed by The Walking Dead, especially if you finish Game of Thrones beforehand. A good Doctor Who book, Engines of War. Yes, I actually have. Something just dropped. I have heard of Engines of War, and I definitely plan on checking that out sometime, whether for the book club or just on my personal time. But Tom, I can say this, based on what I've watched of Game of Thrones so far, compared to The Walking Dead, of what I have watched, I already am underwhelmed by The Walking Dead. The Game of Thrones is by far such a better show at this point, in my opinion. I mean, who knows? My opinion may change, and as I watch more of The Walking Dead, I may come to like it more. But as it stands, yeah, I would definitely say that Game of Thrones has a major step up on The Walking Dead, to say the least. Oh, and Ruby gave up on the latest season of The Walking Dead. You're not the only one. I know quite a few people who have said the same, which leaves me conflicted as far as getting into it. Because again, I'm a huge fan of the comics, still love the comics. Lukewarm on the show. The Walking Dead gave up after season 2. That's what Alice said. Alice Plays, rather. Did you know that the Family of Blood 2-parter, my favorite episode, was originally a book written about the 7th Doctor? Really? Really? So that's so the Family of Blood was derived from that book? Or like there is a unfinished script somewhere of that story? Because I'm really interested to check that out, if that's, well, in either case. Black Mirror is on my list. It's one that if I'm not able to get to it in a Discovering series, this video series that I'm planning on doing for, well, the first episode is going to be on Stranger Things. That was supposed to have come out last year. My video on it anyway. So if I'm not able to do certain shows in a Discovering series, or I just don't have time, I'm going to be doing an alternate series that will hopefully make up for that to some degree. Also, are you ahead on Game of Thrones? Have you watched more than you've uploaded? If so, how far? Oh, the book was called Human Nature. Okay. Now, as for Game of Thrones, I am so far ahead on Steven Universe. I am ahead on Torchwood. Game of Thrones, I am not ahead on yet because it's been hard, unfortunately. Like whenever there have been 2 times that I've planned on watching the episodes and have not been able to so far. But today I am going to get at least one more episode watched, if possible, 2, so that I can go ahead and get those ready and make sure that I'm ahead on the show and can, again, especially in that area, start expanding on my backlog, because the backlog for a lot of the videos is thankfully growing, but Game of Thrones is one area that I really need to concentrate on right now. So I'm getting there, just not yet. Let's see here. Walking Dead picks up at season 3. That's cool. Oh, Human Nature is at your library. And have I watched Class? I have not watched Class yet. I think it's available here in the US now, but I haven't watched it yet. That is another show I plan on giving a try. It's one that, due to my current schedule and trying to get things in, I don't know that I can do a discovering series on it, but I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. I am going to try and check it out as soon as I can. It's not a priority right now. Let's see. I think you said you've already been spoiled for the end of season 1. Can we still expect a reaction? Oh, absolutely, Tom. Absolutely. I mean, and I know this seems kind of self-serving for me, with this channel, but the game of, excuse me, I am so sorry. Again, my throat's just getting dry and I forgot my water. But Game of Thrones, the combination reaction and review videos are by far my most viewed videos on this channel since I was doing the more recent Doctor Who videos during the 9th series. So you can definitely expect more reactions. Whether or not certain episodes may have fewer like reaction-worthy moments, it's hard to say. So some of the edited versions may be shorter than normal. But going forward, I see no reason why I won't be doing combination reaction review videos for Game of Thrones going forward for all of the episodes. So yeah, hopefully that's some good news for you and some of the others. And again, if I keep doing those, because it's such a popular series on this channel right now, I see no reason not to keep doing it, unless it just becomes a major time drain on me, which so far it isn't. It's just been, a matter of making sure I have time for certain things. Class really isn't worth it. It has no substance. There was just to fill the 2016 no Doctor Who gap. I was kind of assuming that. I'm still interested in checking it out at the very least, though, giving it a try. But again, whether or not I'll make it an actual discovering series, we'll have to wait and see. Why can't a nose be 12 inches long? Because it would be a foot. Oh, goodness. Matt, I don't know where that came from, but nice. Can't wait for your later reactions for Game of Thrones. Our massive reaction-worthy moment in season 3 to look forward to. I don't doubt that. I have no doubt that there are going to be some just absolutely mind-blowing moments, including, I know essentially what happens to a certain character in season 1 of Game of Thrones, but when it actually happens, I don't know how I'm going to react, and I'm interested to see how I react, especially after the recording's over and I go back over and do the editing. So we'll have to wait and see. My favorite Torchwood character. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Here's one thing that I do want to say. I am going to be bringing back the season recaps, which gives me sort of a little buffer in between starting up the in between seasons or series for different shows. So after I do the final episode of series 1 of Torchwood, I'll mention in the bottom to leave any questions you might have for me. So hold on to that question and bring it up during then, and I'll be sure to answer it during my recap for Torchwood Series 1. So, I don't have an answer for you right now, but I will hopefully have a good one for you come that time. Oh, in terms of your reaction to the season 1 moment, I think you'll see it coming, especially if you already know. There's a bit of a buildup. Have a drink. Don't worry, Ruby. I will be soon. I'm going to be ending the stream rather soon anyway, because I need to get upstairs and get some things done around the house. So again, I apologize for the dry throat and everything, but I'm going to make sure I have drinks next time I do one of these streams, because getting dry throat every time is just horrible. Let's see, who is my favorite Steven Universe character? Yours is Pearl. That is also a really tough one for different reasons. I feel like with Steven Universe, I want to wait until I am either caught up or at least finished. Well, I am finished with the first season at this point, just not with the videos. But when I do the recap, I'll try and think over my favorite characters from season 1 and get that to you. But it's always hard for me to pick favorites unless there is like a lot of characters that one might really not like, mostly because even characters that are more disliked by a fandom or certain groups in general, I tend to find parts about them that I like. Usually, not always. There are some characters that I just cannot stand. If you watch my Game of Thrones videos, then you'll know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it's really hard for me to pick favorites in that regard sometime, but I will try and keep that in mind for when I do the season 1 recap of Steven Universe. Let's see. I don't know if you said this before, but have you got a favorite series of Doctor Who? Honestly, yeah, series 3. Actually, hold on a second. I'm trying to think. Is it series 3 or the series with Catherine Tate was series 4, I believe. And then Martha was series 3. I think that's right. So I would say series 3 would be a close one, but overall, I feel like series 4 with Donna Noble is my favorite Doctor Who series so far. She is to this day my favorite companion, and just the stories with her were overall really well done, in my opinion. So yeah, series 4. I'll go with that. Let's see, a question from David Jerry. Why do you do a reaction series to Steven Universe? There are so many episodes. I'm just wondering why you thought it was necessary to react to so many episodes. Well, the reason for that is because the episodes of Steven Universe are so short, being able to do reactions to it are overall rather easy to do, because I mean, each episode, well, not all of them, but most of the episodes are, there's moments that get a lot of reactions out of me. And unlike longer shows like Torchwood or Doctor Who or Game of Thrones, when it comes to editing them down, I really don't have too much to worry about especially trying to make sure that I get the video, or not the video, but like the footage I use under 10 minutes, because each episode is 11 to 12 minutes long. So I can basically just pick and choose my favorite moments from an episode, and it makes the editing really simple. Whereas when I'm editing together the edited versions for the Game of Thrones reactions, Doctor Who reactions, etc., I have to really work it down and possibly sacrifice some scenes I really like, because if I keep those scenes and my reaction to them, I'll go over the 10-minute mark, which tends to be sort of the average, or like sort of the benchmark for where you should cut off used footage when doing reactions. So yeah, overall doing the Steven Universe reactions is fairly easy. So that's why I do those. And plus it helps bring more viewers. Again, I'm not a reaction channel, but I am a channel that does reactions, but it's not all I do, if that makes sense. I recognize the fact that reaction videos bring in views, which, with me wanting to hopefully one day be able to expand the quality and the size of this channel to be a job, which, you know, is technically a business already, but to be able to expand it in that way, I have to go with what the market enjoys and what the market likes. And I work with that in the sense that, in addition to doing these reactions, which pulls in the viewers, I also do my reviews, which, you know, some people might not stay for, or most people may not stay for, but there will be some people that stay for that extra bit for my analysis. And a lot of those people, thankfully, end up becoming new subscribers, which is awesome. So yeah, that's the extremely long-winded reason of why I do that. Let's see. Will I be listening to or reviewing any 8th Doctor Big Finish stories? I will be, Ian, yes. I'm assuming you weren't here for the beginning, but I was originally going to be doing starting up with the 8th Doctor Big Finish series for next month. But with the passing of John Hurt, I decided to do Volume 1 of the War Doctor audio series first. You know, that I don't know if people will be displeased by that, but that's the way I decided to go with it, again, because it's sort of in honor of John Hurt and what he contributed to Doctor Who and us Whovians in general. So I guess as a whole, I would say you're right about Series 4 is great for the majority. Oh, okay. You're talking about my opinion of the Doctor Who series. Yeah, I totally get that. And again, I thought Series 3 was really good as well. Ever heard of Red versus Blue? It's a web series. I have not watched Red versus Blue in a long time, but I actually watched the first 2 seasons, maybe, or it was either the first season or the first 2 seasons of it back when I was in college. So yeah, I really enjoyed it back then. Might give it a watch again sometime, but as far as doing like reactions to it, most likely not. I know some people that do shows like that, but unless I feel really motivated to do videos for those, it's unlikely I will. My favorite British snack so far, Jammy Dodgers. Definitely Jammy Dodgers. But really everything I've tried so far, except for the Marmite, has been amazing. And I hope you all enjoy the other videos I have recorded so far when they come out. But yeah, by far Jammy Dodgers are my favorite, and I am going to have to order some of those soon because I am having some withdrawals here, people. Marmite, obviously. Yeah, Tom, you're exactly right. Have you seen the Best Picture Oscar nominations? Have you watched any of them? Why do you think your reaction to Game of Thrones episode 6 got so little views in comparison to the rest? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe because it was the first reaction I had actually done to the show, so it didn't garner that much attention. I honestly don't know exactly, but I'm totally fine. I mean, it still got quite a few views, so I'm fine with that. I was kind of curious, though, because, again, the reaction videos tend to be the much higher viewed ones, so I was a bit curious about that. As for the Best Picture Oscar nominations, I don't really watch award shows. I know that, especially if I want to try and go into more of the news direction or like pop culture commentary on things. I should focus on that kind of thing more. But I've just, ever since I got out of college, any attention I have for award shows has just gone out the window. I don't care. Like, I'll watch highlights the next day of, like, some of the big speeches and some of the more controversial things that were said and see who the winners are. But overall, it's just so hard for me to care. It's like, I enjoy what I enjoy, and I don't enjoy what I don't enjoy. And if I didn't watch it, then okay, I don't care. So yeah, it's, I don't know. But you know what? For the sake of argument, let me pull up the Best Picture Oscar nominees for right now. Best Picture Oscar 2017. Take a quick look at the nominees. Oh, okay, this is not exactly the format I expected. But okay, first we have Arrival. Have not seen Arrival. Fences. Have not seen that, but I'm actually interested in seeing it. Actually, I'm interested in seeing both Fences and Arrival. Hacksaw Ridge. No idea. Or haven't seen it. Hell or High Water. Haven't seen it. No idea. Hidden Figures. That's one that I'm interested in seeing. And I've heard good things about. Hold on. Sorry once again. But yeah, haven't seen it yet. La La Land. Looks interesting. Haven't seen it. Lion. I have no idea what that is. Haven't seen it. Manchester by the Sea. No idea. Moonlight. I got no. So yeah, have not seen a single one of these. So all the more reason, I guess, for me to not really give a crap about the Oscars right now. That is one thing that I'm wanting to, one of my, I guess, PapaKenn resolutions, I guess you could say, for 2017 is to do more movie reviews, even if they're just the mini ones. But yeah, because 2016, yeah, I didn't really see all that many movies. I think I did reviews for maybe 5 the entire year, which is kind of pathetic. But yeah, the Oscars, as it stands, I don't care. And maybe next year or the end of this year when they do more award shows, maybe I'll care. It's hard to say, but I find it hard to get invested because it's like no matter who wins or who doesn't win, I enjoy what I enjoy, so I could care less what these bigwigs of Hollywood or whoever it is that does the actual judging for these things have to say. Like, I might start to give a crap about the video game awards, maybe, eventually. It seems like something I would actually at least be interested in watching, so there's that. Have I heard of Ruby? I have heard of Ruby. I have not watched it yet. That is actually on my... I consider that an anime, so that's actually on my list, like in the top 2 positions. It will either be the first or the second anime show that I will introduce to the Discovering series, but we'll have to wait and see. I understand why you didn't like Marmite. It's so scrumptious. It's just not for me, Tom. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but what do you think of the recent Donald Trump news? The Muslim ban in particular. I can't remember if you have or not, but have you watched Rick and Morty? Rick and Morty is going to be coming, as far as animated shows, not exactly anime, but as far as animated shows that happened during the Discovering series, it is on my list, and it is coming, well, I say very soon as far as its position on the list. As far as how long until I get to it, I can't say. But yeah, I have seen some Rick and Morty, but I am holding off on watching all of it until I can really get into it. But it is coming. The recent Donald Trump news. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and instead of dragging this on longer with that, let me just say, Tom, that you can expect to hear my thoughts on it very soon. Very soon. Within the next 3 days, I'm going to have a video up that will be discussing some of these things and my thoughts on them. So yeah, that's all I'll say about it for right now, because I have a lot of thoughts together as far as that whole situation goes. And I don't want to sort of bog down the end of this with that. So I'll take one last quick glance at the chat, and then I'm going to begin closing this up. Let's see here. Over the Garden Wall, that is also on the list. That is actually, that's another one that is very high up on my list that I'll be checking out very soon, especially since it's a relatively short show. So, I mean, since it's shorter, it might get some priority, because then I could go through it rather quick. I'm very forward to Rick and Morty. You never laughed so much. Oh my God, I know. Of the episodes I have seen, I love that show so much. But again, I haven't seen all of them, so I can't give my full opinion, obviously. But all right, to close up here really quick, everyone, just thank you so much for joining me here for this episode of the book club. I know this was it was probably one of the weaker ones overall, especially since it took so long to get around to this one, and I should have done it last October as planned. But for next time, which again will be on February 26th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Oh wait, is it the 26th or the 28th? Yes, it is the 26th. I have that scheduled or mentioned here in the description on the video and the stream. And it will be on the first volume of the War Doctor's Big Finish audios, which I'm really looking forward to. And I really hope that more of you all will be able to participate in. I would love to have people come into the stream here, and even if it's just audio, give their thoughts on it some. Because I really want to try and make this more of an actual book club with, participation from you all and not just me talking and losing my voice. But again, one last time, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope you all enjoyed this little, this last little book club for audible.com for the time being. We'll get back to audible.com eventually, but for now we will be shifting focus over to Big Finish. And Matt-san, I'm glad you were able to make it. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to answer all of your questions, but I hope you stick around and hopefully check out some of the other things on the channel. And if I am able to start doing a schedule for streams beyond just the book club, I will definitely be adding that to the schedule, and hopefully can make a public calendar that people will be able to look at as well. I tried to do that before, but it, for some reason, didn't turn out very well. But that aside, hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday, or Monday if you're that far in the future, time traveling Australians. But yes, again, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. I hope you're looking forward to the episodes that will be coming out this week in the Discovering series. If you're curious to see what will be coming out that is scheduled, again, you can see the schedule over at the Facebook page. And again, if you can't see the picture very well, there is a link to a version of the picture that you can zoom in on and see more clearly. So until next time, everyone, I'm PapaKenn, and I will see you all next time. And I'll also see you around on social media, because that is where we all interact. But until next time, everyone, later.